Hello and welcome to our video presentation on conducting online research for methods in Christian spirituality. I'm David Vassar, a reference librarian here at Fordham, and I'll be showing you some library resources available to you that'll get you started with your research projects. The goal of this presentation is to show you how to research your topics thoroughly, efficiently, and in a focused way using the resources and services available to you from the Fordham University Library. You should begin your research process by taking some time to think through your topic. Let's say we're interested in the connection between pastoral counseling and spirituality. Before we dive into our search, take a moment to think about the types of studies you'd like to find. For example, historical, quantitative, qualitative, longitudinal, and so forth. Knowing what kinds of studies you'll need will inform you where to go to find them and what databases might best serve your research question. Do not neglect large interdisciplinary databases in fear of losing sight of your specific topic. Interdisciplinary research leads to critical thinking about your topic and can highlight avenues in your research that you might otherwise have missed. You should be prepared to alternate between breadth and depth in your research and thinking. At times we'll cast a wide net to see how much we can find on a specific topic. At other points we'll want to dive into a specific article and follow the citations to gather a complete view of specific supporting research. Remember that research is a process, and librarians are here to help you with any and all elements of this process. So now that we've articulated our topic, let's proceed to making a plan for research and looking for sources. For the remainder of this video, we will focus on finding academic articles in databases. To start your research, begin on the library homepage. Fordham has nearly 400 academic databases, and we can find them either by name in an alphabetical listing or by subject. Let's assume we don't have a particular database in mind at this point, so we'll look at the subject listing. Let's assume from this listing we'll scroll down to Religion and Theology. Notice that the name of each database is followed by a brief description of its function. I encourage you to explore some of the resources listed here and use the descriptions to help you select the databases that will be most relevant for your research project. For our purposes today, we'll scroll down to the heading Indexes and Bibliographies and select ATLA Religion Database with Atlas Serials Plus to work with. Note that you'll be prompted to authenticate with your my.fordham username and password to search the library's databases. Be mindful of a fundamental rule in database searching. Keep your search terms simple. As much as possible, use single words or short phrases. Plural or abstract nouns or phrases work well for subject searching in particular. Examples: Jesuits, Franciscans, Catholicism, women, and parochial schools are a few examples. When using library databases, try searching for a term using truncation. And here's an example. Typing religio with an asterisk tells the database to search for all variants on that root: religion, religions, religious, religiously, religiosity, and so forth. Okay, let's try a basic search. On the ATLA page, in the top search field, type Pastoral Counseling. And let's search it as title. Okay, since this is the first element of your research topic, try searching it alone to see if this chosen database will serve your research needs well. For the same reason, refrain for now from limiting the search to publication date or to full text. Note that when I start to type Pastoral Counseling, the database is going to suggest some similar terms that I can search at the same time: Pastoral Care and Christian Counseling. By selecting this list of terms, I'm expanding my research to include alternative versions of my search term. So click Search And take note of the huge number of results. Now try searching that same phrase as subject. We'll wait a moment for results. Again, a sizable number. But this isn't necessarily daunting. In fact, it's encouraging because it means there's lots of published literature on this central aspect of your topic. Now let's leave pastoral counseling as subject in place and refine our search with spirituality in the title field. Note again, we don't have to limit ourselves to just spirituality, but can include synonyms religion, faith, and belief system. Now let's click search. We see that searching with that particular combination of terms, pastoral counseling and spirituality, yields far fewer results. We see that if we now alter our search to look for spirituality as a subject term, we'll increase our search output considerably. Of course, there's lots of overlap among the results of these two only slightly different searches. We're changing it up like this just because, as you may have seen, a given word or phrase may work better as subject than as title, or vice versa, in terms of search results. Most often you'll be rewarded in the end with optimum results if you're willing to play with the search a bit, so to speak, trying out different search terms, including some that the database itself may suggest. Similarly, try varying the search fields you search by from one attempt to the next. Selecting either subject or title makes for far more focused searching. Selecting all text casts a wider net and generally scores more hits, but many of these may be less relevant for your topic. At this point, you may wish to add databases to the search effort to increase the number of results. Click Choose Databases above the search boxes to bring up EBSCOhost's complete database listing. You're free to select as many additional databases from this list as you think may be helpful. I suggest selecting the first database in the listing, Academic Search Complete, as its full text subject coverage is so comprehensive. Let's also select Christian Periodicals Index, Psych Articles, and SOC Index with full text. Then let's hit OK to return to the search interface. Let's designate both search terms now as subject and run the search with these additional databases now working for us. As you can see, we're rewarded with a pretty robust but manageable number of citation results. The luxury of high numbers of results allows you to limit your results in several ways. Scrolling down and looking to the left of the page under Limit To, we see that we can limit results to scholarly, that is peer-reviewed, journals, and to those including access to full text. We can also change the publication date range if desired. Just below this area, Source Types tells us that the majority of these articles are from academic journals, which may be the preferred category of result types for your research project. We recommend browsing through the first 40 results or so to get a sense of how effective the search terms and database selections have been. As you read through the article titles listed, open any that look interesting in a new tab. Let's look closely at this result. Varieties of religious and spiritual treatment. The record provides keywords, abstract, and subject headings for this article, all of which may help us decide whether it's valuable for our research project. So, as a researcher, if I now decide I want to read this article, I have several ways to do that. If the database provides linked full text, this will be indicated on the left-hand side as you see here. I am also able to print, email, and retrieve a permalink from this page. Since you had to authenticate with your My Fordham information to access this database, simply copying/pasting the link in the URL window will not retrieve this resource. So, always ensure you save the permalink. Among other options the database offers are having the article read aloud in an MP3 file of the audio downloaded, or having the text translated into another language. These are other features. We strongly recommend collecting the citations of any article you find interesting at this stage to save yourself the headache of citation retrieval and formatting right before a research project is due. To do this, click on Cite, scroll down to Chicago Turabian, and copy-paste this format into your working research document. If you're working with a citation management software such as Zotero, you can select the export option and save the citation that way. And by the way, discussion of citation management tools like Zotero is beyond the scope of this particular presentation, but if they're new to you and you're curious, visit the library homepage and hit the Research Support tab, then the Citation Management sub-tab to access information on the use of these tools. And as always, feel free to contact us for help. Okay, so back on our results page, I'm able also to organize the items I want to pursue by clicking on the blue folder icon to the right of each title. In this way, I'm adding selected articles to a folder which I can then either email to myself or save in my own EBSCO account via the sign-in button at the top of the page. It's good practice to review your search history at the end of each research session to prevent redundant researching. There's nothing more frustrating than searching the same group of terms over and over again only to get the same results because you can't recall how you searched during your last session. If you click on Search History, you're able to view all your search attempts up to that point with the option to rerun the search, view the results, or edit. Before you leave the EBSCOhost platform, we recommend selecting the Email Results option, which includes a record for your search history for that session, or saving the search history to your EBSCO account, or simply printing it out. In any case, having your search history for quick reference saves you the headache of starting from scratch each time you resume your research, and it's a convenient reminder of the search strategies you've already made use of. Okay, today we have focused on some EBSCOhost databases in particular, but take note also of some of the other online information resources under the Religion and Theology heading, including Globe TheoLib, which is a great open access resource, and Religion Database, which is on the ProQuest platform. Both of these resources provide coverage of literature in this field of study which are not available through EBSCOhost. And in case you're interested in comparing results, it will be important for you to use similar search terms when using these databases. Another valuable database spanning the humanities and social sciences but not listed under the Religion and Theology heading is JSTOR, which provides great coverage with full text of a variety of scholarly publications. The basic functionalities of many of the databases, including JSTOR and ProQuest databases, are similar, so don't forget to collect citations, PDFs, and permalinks as you continue your research process. Finally, whatever library resources or services you're making use of, don't hesitate to contact a Fordham librarian if you're feeling baffled or stuck in some way as you do your research. We're here to help. So please stay tuned for our next video, which will continue exploring good research practices making use of electronic journals, ebooks, and other library resources and services. Goodbye.